So thanks a lot for inviting me to moderate a conversation. Hopefully it's going to be a conversation. We're not here to give lectures or long talks because we have a very distinguished audience. So I'll invite now the participants of the discussion, and after some conversations amongst ourselves, I would like again to open the floor, and hopefully this distinguished audience will join in. So I would like to invite Maria Stockhaus, Vice President of the Nordic Council. Annukka Ylivaara, Assistant Secretary General of the Security Committee in Finland. Sigitas Mitkus, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs in Lithuania. And Ann-Sofie Stude, Head of the Secretariat for Nordic Cooperation, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Finland, whom already saw here on stage. So we will discuss a couple of things. First of all, Donald Trump. We'll not focus on that, I hope, at least. We'll discuss societal resilience. We'll discuss regional security cooperation. We'll discuss lessons that we can learn from one another, because I think we have areas where one or two of the Nordic Baltic countries are stronger than others, and obviously that could be used as a part of a learning process. And we'll also touch upon, I think, a very important question for all of us. How do we adjust or adapt to the new environment, which is changing every day? And previous norms and principles could be rewritten in like 20 minutes via a social media post. So I think all of the regional formats, institutions, non-governmental organizations are facing this dilemma on how to maintain their key long-term priorities, but also stay relevant at this kind of pace of change, which is very disruptive and not necessarily always helping us out to deal with the world that we are facing today. So I've asked all of the speakers to make very short intro remarks of up to 5 minutes. Then we'll have, again, a short conversation in this group. And then, as mentioned, I'll open the floor to the distinguished audience for your participation via questions or remarks. So please don't hesitate to express your own views as well. So Maria, I would like to start with you, as you'll have to leave a bit early, so don't take it as a dissatisfaction with regards to how discussion is evolving. That's just logistics. Maria has to catch a plane, so please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Excellencies, dear friends of the Nordic-Baltic Cooperation. I'm Maria Stockhaus, and I'm a member of the Swedish Parliament. That's my regular job to say, but today I'm here as the Vice President of the Nordic Council, which is the parliamentary cooperation for the Nordics. And our presidencies don't align, as you can see, since it's Finland and Åland that has the Council of Ministers and Sweden has the Nordic Council. I want to express my thank you for the invitation to come here and speak on these important topics, and it's a fantastic event that's in a very fantastic location as well, so thank you so much for that. I've never been to Lithuania before, so it's really a very nice experience for me. The reason we're here is to celebrate the Nordic Day, which is, we're a little bit early since it's the 23rd. We're going to have a big celebration in the Swedish Parliament next week with the Crown Princess Victoria. She's going to be present there. It's actually, what we're celebrating is when the Helsinki Treaty was signed, and that's sort of the start of the foundation, really, of our Nordic cooperation. We're looking at maybe doing some revisions on the Helsinki Treaty, but it's still sort of our firm ground for our cooperation. It is a unique cooperation that's been going on for a long time, and I think with regards to what's happening in the world today, I think it's even more important that we all stick together and be even more firm in our different cooperations. And it's also very important for us within the Nordics to strengthen our cooperation with our Baltic neighbors as well. I think the focus of this panel is a very welcome focus, is the trust and resilience. If you look at the Nordics, I think that somebody said that the trust is the gold of the Nordics, that it's really, we have a very trusting society, maybe more so than others, and I think that's very important for our Nordic cooperation. We also share a lot of similar societal systems and common core values as well. And trust is really an essential component for our cooperation. We assumed the presidency for the Nordic Council this year, and of course, we set the headline for our presidency earlier this fall, but it's the Nordics together, Nordic value and cohesion in troubled times. And I don't think we realized that it would be even more troubled when we actually stepped up and took over the presidency. But we also have four main themes. It's the Nordic value for its people in everyday lives, an integrated Nordic region, cohesion, and securing national support. Overall, our presidency program is focusing on the core mission of the Nordic Council, making it easier for people to live, study, work, and run businesses within and across the borders of the Nordic region. It's about making day-to-day lives easier, but it's also a matter of making our societies more resilient and prepared for future crises. I think we learned a big lesson during COVID that some of our parts of the Nordic cooperation needs a little bit more work, and I think we have learned a lot from our experience during COVID, and also that's a focus for the Nordic Council to learn from those experiences and make sure that we are better prepared for our next crisis, because I think we can assume that it will actually come eventually. We are strengthening the parliamentary aspect of Nordic defense and security, and especially regarding civil preparedness and supply chain readiness. Our region will be better prepared and equipped to deal with common challenges. During our discussion today, I look forward to share more information about our presidency program and how the Nordic Council work with other actors to enhance the security and stability in our region. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Can I just quickly ask a follow-up question? There is this Nordic Defense and Security Commission established relatively recently. Can you talk a little bit about this vision of this commission and the future perspectives of how that could enhance regional cooperation?
I think that traditionally the Nordic cooperation has not been so much on military, since not all countries have been members of NATO. So that's we have, since we're all part of NATO now, it's more important for us to work together on military issues as well. So that's sort of the purpose of the Commission. Thanks a lot.
Madame Ylivaara, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear friends. As already introduced, I'm Assistant Secretary General from the Secretariat of the Security Committee, and just to frame my position, what is Security Committee in Finland? It's a permanent body working at the national level, assisting government and ministries in broad matters concerning the comprehensive security and especially preparedness. And since the title of this panel is Trust and Resilience, so I think that I can address this title from a conceptual perspective. As Ann-Stude already described, that we have recently updated our security strategy for society. It was adopted in the beginning of this year. It is the 5th update of the strategy. It has a historical background. First strategy was adopted in 2003. And the basis of the strategy has remained the same, being vital functions of society are being safeguarded together with authorities, business community, organizations and citizens. But what we have updated, maybe the most significant change, is that we have highlighted the importance of citizens, and basically trust starts between individuals. So why is the importance of individuals highlighted in our recent update of the strategy? Obviously, we have looked closely the recent changes in our security environment, both internally and externally. And if we look at, for example, the situation in Ukraine, so it has shown us the importance of psychological resilience, importance of individuals. Individuals, they are key actors in security. This doesn't obviously mean that authorities can outsource the responsibility to take to security for citizens, but citizens, they are the actors, whether they are in authorities, whether they are in the business community, whether they are organizations as voluntary participants, or whether they just represent themselves. So now it is time to focus on the capacities of the individuals, knowledge, skill, and also strengthen their security-oriented attitude. This means maintaining sufficient psychological, physical, social, and ethical readiness. Well, we in the Nordic countries, I think we are in good position, but still this is something that we have to highlight so that all the citizens, all the individuals understand their importance in creating the trust internally and also across borders. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just follow up by focusing on the youth, because we had already talked about the importance of involving this group in resilience and in other activities, and it's not always easy, knowing the changing landscape of communication, the social media, and the overall environment and how public discourse is being created. Is there any particular challenge that you are facing in having youth included in the conceptions that you have?
Well, if you look at the recent crisis in Finland and in the Western countries overall concerning COVID-19 pandemic. So I think that the shutdowns and restrictions concerning gatherings and, for example, attending schools, and so it has a lot of effects still on youth, and we have to concentrate so that including them in these discussions. And one interesting point concerning psychological resilience is that it involves a lot of things. Of course, you have to increase the individual's actorship in a community, but also about communications. It's not only sharing information, it's also creating meanings.
Thank you. Vice Minister?
Thank you, Linas. Dear Ambassador, Excellencies and colleagues and friends, of course it's a privilege to be a representative of a frontline state and happiest state in the world. And this is why preparedness and resilience issues are very important for all Lithuanians. I remember 20 years ago I was the first national coordinator of Baltic Sea strategy, and one Finnish colleague counted that there were approximately more than 800 formats for cooperation in different fields around the Baltic countries. And for me, it's a great pleasure to talk about Nordic-Baltic cooperation today and to talk about resilience and preparedness. We are like-minded countries. We need to stick together in the context of threats and challenges that we are facing in the world. And talking about our cooperation, we need to look at administrative measures, at financial arrangements, and of course different formats that could be used to strengthen our cooperation. And to be honest, Nordic-Baltic format is the most successful format within the EU and NATO. And I mentioned more than 800 different formats across perimeter, across all the areas. So what do we need? We need to continue our excellent cooperation and to pay just more attention to the working methods within the European Union, how we could be more effective and more quick.
Thank you. And yeah, you've mentioned that Lithuanians are among the happiest in the world. Unfortunately, under 30, so not on stage. We're not in that group anymore. Hopefully, we could expand this further as well. But you've mentioned a variety of formats, and many of the discussions that are currently taking place focus on some new ideas on how to, again, deal with the challenges. Maybe we need new formats. We need new kind of gatherings in order to tackle specific issues. Do you think this is the right approach, or shall we focus on consolidating what we have already and using the formats that were well established for many decades?
Very good question, and we can be creative. For example, in the Baltic states, 10 years ago, we initiated a very interesting initiative to build Baltic Capital Markets Union, for example. Then talking about Nordic-Baltic cooperation, we can think about new ways and forms for cooperation in the fields of defense and security, or border protection, or think about new measures how to strengthen our cooperation in the research and development or innovation fields. So there are plenty of opportunities. We can use different measures either at national level or EU level or NATO. And I think that our Nordic-Baltic region has a very bright future, and the recent developments, how we cooperate, how we are sticking together within the European Union, within NATO, it's a very good example for the rest of the world.
Thank you. Ann-Sofie, please.
Thank you. I won't speak that long because I already took your time for a while. Just to emphasize that it's really important to speak about this civilian preparedness. There are a lot of actors in military crisis preparedness at the moment, but the civilian preparedness topics we're not working that much on. And just to mention a practical example, the cultural sector, and where we would be very interested also in working with Lithuania and hearing your experiences and lessons learned. When we are trying to discuss this in Finland, we're seeing that that's one of the most widest sectors for crisis preparedness. You have, of course, protecting cultural heritage if there is a crisis, if it's an attack or if it's a flooding. But then you have the other end where you really have mental, psychological resilience. We saw during the pandemic how important it was that people had access to libraries, for example. So both increasing resilience before a crisis, increasing resilience during normal times, and then people manage better during the crisis, but then it's also very important when you recuperate from a crisis. So the cultural sector is really very important, and also in creating, for example, protecting national heritage and national identity, because people need to have something to defend. If you want to defend your country, you have to agree on what it is that you are defending, and it has to be worth defending. Otherwise, you are not prepared to act. That's just to sort of have a practical example on what we are trying to develop the thinking on in Finland.
Yeah, just to follow up, do you see any other particular areas where countries such as Lithuania could maybe learn from the approach taken in Finland with somewhat different kind of security environment, in the sense that you were not an allied country for years and now joining NATO as an alliance, so you've had other kind of ways of dealing with similar neighborhood with Russia. So any other particular areas you could see that could be of use for us, Lithuania, to learn from the Finnish experience?
Well, I don't know. I think everybody learns from each other, and everybody has their own experience, and that you can share. So I can't really think of anything that you would learn from Finland, but what I could say about, for example, the NATO civilian preparedness, it's been very closely connected, the 7 principles, very closely connected to the military preparedness. But in NATO, it's also becoming more, developing more, and the broader security perspective also is becoming more prominent within NATO. Although now, I think NATO is sharpening up and narrowing again to military preparedness. Although I don't want to go into that because it's not in part of my current capacity, but I think we just have to work on all these sectors together and put lots of emphasis on different sectors and dig ourselves into the civilian crisis. I mean, for financial crisis, the natural catastrophes, pandemics, some of our countries have gang violence. It's a big challenge. So there's plenty of work to do.
Thank you. Well, you can really tell it's a Nordic panel because I've said 5 minutes each and everybody stuck on time, which is certainly not a given in many other conversations. But I would like to ask maybe a rather broad question to each of you, and then open the floor for others to chip in. You've mentioned already, some of you mentioned, we've had so many different types of crises over the last couple of years, starting with the pandemic, obviously the war currently taking place, and societal change from the informational landscape perspective. Can you each tell of some of the lessons learned in terms of building societal resilience from each of these crises, or one in particular that you focus more on? Because certainly things are, again, changing and evolving pretty fast, but whether we are adjusting how we approach some of the issues is probably the right question to ask ourselves. So maybe, Maria, could you start?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I think one of our, from a Nordic perspective, was the COVID-19, because our countries handled the pandemic very differently, and there were shutdowns, and people working on one side of a border and living on the other had really big issues with lots of practical things, and also with payments of salaries and things like that. So it was really came very fast, and I think we were not prepared for that. And I think the lesson is that we need to sort of actually be more like have a talk together before something actually happens, so that we have more preparedness of, okay, what should our strategy be? How can we make sure that people who are dependent on being able to cross borders, that we don't shut those things down? So I think that's it's really a big work that's going on now within the Nordic Cooperation to learn from the pandemic. I think that's because it's I think we all thought that we had very good cooperation, and we did, but I think in a crisis, that's when everything is really challenged, and we were very challenged, and are getting back from that now and learning a lot from that pandemic.
Do you think we're a bit better prepared now than we were like 2 years ago?
Yes, I do think so. I think there's a lot of issues that have been discussed, especially when it comes to trying to keep borders open and making it possible for people to still sort of maintain their lives, even though we are in for new challenges. And And also with everything happening around us, with not just pandemic, but also with the war in Ukraine and now what's happening across the Atlantic, I think we were talking about that over lunch, that the crisis usually could have something good coming out of it. And I think the good thing from this is that we are sort of focusing on the bigger things that we need to work better together on, and maybe things that we had lots of discussion about before doesn't seem as important. We're focusing on the bigger picture. I think that's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think I have to return to our famous diamond, the vital functions of society, just to highlight the interconnectedness of these vital functions, which COVID-19 pandemic proved us that this is a very, very valuable way of looking at society's coping in a crisis situation. So because at the beginning it started as a health problem affecting the functional capacity of population, but very fast it impacted on the economy. And after that it required international activities together with other countries. And later on, as we still experience, you mentioned youth and how we take care of the youth, so we still experience problems concerning the psychological resilience and so on. So basically the lessons learned is that you can't concentrate purely on one threat. For example, at the moment being, it might be very dangerous just to concentrate on building defense capabilities, concentrate on military threats. You have to look at the vast spectrum of different kind of threats beforehand and prepare in many threats in order to respond in those specific events that will be at hand. So basically the whole of society view, I think, is the lessons learned.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, Finland is often used as an example here in Lithuania, and I think in multiple other countries, of very strong societal resilience, preparedness, which is quite unprecedented. Everybody knows what to do in case of any crisis, it seems, from the outside. You've mentioned already a couple of challenges. What are some of the other challenges that you are dealing with in your daily work in order to maintain this level of preparedness today and obviously have it in the future as well?
I personally describe our concept as a concept of collaboration. So, of course, Finland, as Lithuania also, is a very small country when it comes to population. So basically, every key person knows one another, and to be able to this kind of coordination model to function, it needs people to communicate, to share information, and of course, in an ideal world, there might be some structures that could more support the actions, but I think that we cannot change everything, so we just have to ensure that people communicate, people share information, and the most important thing is that there is a common will, trust between different authorities, between business community, because business community, their logic is based on profit making. So there has to be common will to make this work, not to forget the organizations and the citizens.
Well, profit making applies to politics today as well, as we've noticed probably from some of the examples. Vice Minister?
Thank you, Linas. Of course, we are much better prepared than, for example, we were 5 years ago, both in Lithuania and in the European Union. And of course, I can list good and bad examples. If we take, for example, COVID, and in the beginning of COVID, we had terrible situation when it was related to functioning of internal market. And then suddenly EU member states started disintegrating, and we had a challenge to pool our efforts together, to stick together, and to make proper decisions how to protect our citizens and how to build proper institutional structures, also create public procurement procedures, and so on. Another example, for example, protecting of our borders. And Lithuania had been facing instrumentalization of illegal migration from our neighboring countryside. And after this crisis, we built a fence, we built 800 kilometers border. We have established very effective crisis management agency. We have adopted all necessary strategic documents, approved a concept of whole society approach, and I think that we are much better equipped now than we were in the past.
Can you name a couple of strengths of Lithuania in that regard, where we are strong in this, and where you would see a need for, kind of growing up approach in terms of being more resilient in the future?
If we take our institutional and administrative capacities, now we are much more stronger, and our institutions are capable to react. We have established also a network of people responsible for fighting against disinformation and hybrid threats. They are working with other countries. They manage to create procedures and exchange of information with other colleagues on a regular basis. I do believe that those structures will help us with future crises, and we will be able to manage them much better.
Any particular areas of improvement where
Pardon?
we need to improve? Areas of improvement needed?
No, of course we are always thinking about future steps and improvements, be it administrative or financial measures. I think that we still need to pay more attention to better coordination, to improve our coordination among institutions, then to think about our ways and means how we can act better on EU level. And of course we have to look at EU procedures and simply to try them to simplify, and we need to look at still bottlenecks which are existing in the European Union.
Thank you. Ann-Sofie?
Thank you. Well, what proved to be really important was the disinformation and media literacy to fight disinformation. I mean, we've been working on media literacy, improving it for many years, but this really confirmed, all these crises that you mentioned, confirmed the importance of continuing and intensifying that work. And then another crisis I would like to mention is climate change. Where we have learned that, for example, municipalities need to work themselves, but also work together. For example, if you have floodings, you need to have the sewage and the systems working. Now that we start to have also more heat waves, you need to have more trees, places where people can cool off. Those are a couple of examples.
Can you expand a little bit on media literacy? Because it's obviously a very important topic for countries in the region and obviously those countries that are striving to become more European. Any particular programs in this field that work efficiently in your country?
Sorry, can you, it's a bit of an echo.
Media literacy, can you expand a little bit on some of the programs that you've implemented in practice which gave the best result for you and that could be applicable in other countries as well?
It's most important is work in schools, and then starting at an early age to learn to differentiate between to be critical of what you are reading, learn to identify solid sources. Those are sort of central in that work, and to put it into a program so that you are working systematically. We will have a big conference in the fall in Finland, organized by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Culture on exactly these topics.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd now like to open the floor for the participants to chip in, again, with questions or remarks. I think we have a microphone. Hey, Ambassador, second row.
Hello. Hello. I come from a northern country, but not a Nordic country. I'm the ambassador for Canada. Thank you very much for providing this overview of your program over the next number of years. And a lot of the areas are of keen interest to Canada, particularly around the whole civil resilience and some of the civil preparedness. What are the areas where you would see as being open to cooperation with Canada, or open, or you think would have particularly of interest where we could work together, seeing that we share this very similar values, including on Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody willing to take? Yeah.
Yep. Please. Maybe I can start. Of course. We are interested in cooperating with Canada in different areas. First of all, in defense and security. Then, of course, competitiveness and economy. We have changed our legal framework of free economic zones, allowing defense and security companies from third countries to invest into those zones, and we are inviting all countries to explore opportunities of our legal and business environment to be established in Lithuania. Then research and development and innovation, and especially we would be interested in cooperating with Canada in the fields of life sciences, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies. I mentioned already defense and security, drones, and anti-drones technologies. So photonics as well. A lot of ideas we have for you, so we would be ready to explore them further on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, we are within the Nordic Council of Ministers working with Canada, and during the last 2 years we have intensified this cooperation. There was a delegation from the Canadian Foreign Ministry visiting Finland, and we especially talked about research. Canada is contributing in a major way to Nordforsk and Arctic research program. So there are a lot of projects being planned there. I think also on exactly civilian preparedness. I think Canada is participating, if I'm not mistaken, in that program as well. And the Council of Ministers also has strategic partners, in 3 countries where the embassies have a multi-year program, and Canada is the new country in that group, the others being Germany and the US.
Yeah, Maria, maybe you would.
I think one area where it's very important to cooperate with like-minded, like Canada, is in the Arctic cooperation. There's going to be, of course, with the issue around Greenland and also opening up new routes for commercial shipping, for example. I think it's important that like-minded countries stay together with the discussions around how to for the development of the Arctic region as well.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, at the back.
Good afternoon. I am Gaia Shavele from the National NGO Coalition, and I would like to start my thanking for strengthening NGOs in Lithuania here. When we talk about the civic preparedness and civic resilience, I think it's a very important topic. And it's not just enough to have short-term projects. I think in this field we have to look in the long term, and because we live not in the safe place, not in the safe Europe, and here not only just governmental institutions, no NGOs can work together, can work separately. So I think this common work should be done. And just I want to say, maybe the next time there could be a free chair on the scene as well for the CSO representative. Coming from Finland, we have been to visit Sweden. We have heard very good examples. So I believe the cooperation which is done between Nordic and Baltic countries should go on in this field, and really huge thanks for the work you do.
Thank you. Any comments on NGO involvement? No. Okay, please, yeah, second row, and then.
Hello, thank you for this nice panel and your insights. My name is Sandra Domavičiūtė and represent Open Lithuania Foundation. And our mission is to strengthen democracy, promote human rights. And we work with a large network of civil society organizations that promote democracy and human rights. And I was waiting for the question that Linas raised in his opening questions, that we live in different reality right now, and the order that we used to understand and live is being destroyed, right? And when the values that we used to live with since we regained our independence are being kind of hidden or being attacked. And when across Atlantic Ocean, the values like diversity, equality, and inclusion is mentioned as a main evil that should be out of our global order, I wanted to ask you this question. Should our civil society organization and also political leadership still uphold the values that we promote, right? We still have many challenges in Lithuania regarding human rights policies, for example, Istanbul Convention or same-sex partnership. Should we lower our voices and and put our priority on civic resilience, or should we look for some balance to promote human rights and democratic values together with civic resistance and resilience? And another question, if I can, you also mentioned in your presentation on focusing on the individuals. Could you elaborate how you are focusing on individuals and you promote this resilience through individual course? Thank you.
Thank you. So how to uphold values in this new reality and the individual perception? Anybody willing to start? Yeah, please.
Yes, I could comment on increasing the security capabilities of individuals. In Finland, we have a 72 hours program, which means that we are educating citizens to prepare for different kind of crisis situations, so that no matter what situation would happen, so they could at least survive 72 hours. This is one example of citizen skills. So it means that you have enough water, you have enough food for you, you have radio so that you can actually receive information via radio if the television, if the internet isn't working. You have the capability of how to operate in these circumstances. So this is just one example. Mm-hmm. It's giving information to citizens.
So do you do that via schools, for instance, school curriculum?
It's via schools and also via different medias.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have on 7th of February is our preparedness day in Finland, where we deliver information concerning this 72 hours preparedness.
So you're using media, I would imagine social media is included as well.
Yeah, and we actually provided containers for citizens where they were seeing signs at 72 hours, because in Finland people are crazy about those buckets. So people were lining for getting buckets.
Okay, but are they full or empty?
They were empty.
Empty, yeah. So you have to fill it yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe Lithuania could have full containers given to every citizen.
We do have same approach with regard 72 hours, program, and we have established digital tool to inform our citizens about how to be better prepared for the crisis, and 72 hours approach and rule is applicable in Lithuania as well. But I wanted to come back to the question related to protecting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. And now in the European Union, we started discussing about initiatives like Democracy Shield, how to build resilience of our societies across European Union. And here I would like to mention one particular topic that is important for Lithuania, and we started raising in different formats. It's fighting against disinformation and attempts to rewrite history. And this topic is very important for us, and we are going to also to include this topic into our EU presidency program for 2027. So I call for support for this initiative also from Nordic countries as well.
Thank you.
Yes, just to mention human rights and democracy and values, the importance of defending and maintaining our values, and of course the preparedness, the immediate preparedness capacity that individuals have to have, but also the sort of that society provides for everyone, the welfare society, that people also they need to have social services, they need to get education, they need to be their health needs to be taken care of if you're sick. All these sort of contribute to the resilience of the person, and then in turn to the resilience of society. So it's very important just to as you were alluding to, that that we keep fighting and keep these values very high on the agenda, because they are at the end of the day they are immediately connected to our own security.
Yeah, thank you. Please.
Now it's working, yeah. Ekaterina Ryaka, Member of the Parliament. So Europe, and unfortunately not only Europe but also the Nordic flagmans, are very much pushed for, urged for action, especially recently, knowing, and they're criticized for being slow all over, especially knowing how quickly the decisions are made on the other side of the Atlantic, well, chaotically. So what are you prepared to do differently? What are you going to change to move and to make this difference, to push for actions? Because Nordic Council also in many topics are urging to making this difference and to act differently. So how you're going to act differently?
Yeah. How to be quick, agile in today's environment. An easy question, so I suppose everybody is willing to start. Yeah, yeah, please.
Yes, I could start. When it comes to action, you have to divide or prepare beforehand and act in that specific situation. And to be able to prepare to a certain event, you have to have the necessary information. You have to reserve material, you have to have the personnel, you have to have the operating procedures, you have to lead this, you have to have the infrastructure, and most importantly, you have to exercise this beforehand. If you haven't done this beforehand, if you haven't prepared, so I think it's very difficult to respond in a specific crisis situation. So my answer is that you have to look at preparedness holistically, all the elements that are needed beforehand.
Do we need to be quicker today, though, in comparison to yesterday?
Sometimes it is also good to sit down and assess the situation, to manage and lead the event before acting.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Indeed, we have to have capacities to act, and I'm talking about decision making as well. And we have been accelerating in the European Union, and recent outcome of European Council meeting of the 6th of March showed that we were capable to take decisions, and of course we will see the future steps which will be very important to test in practice how do decisions work. On legal framework and on how to accelerate our decisions, for example, in the European Union, when it comes to very important topics such as sanctions policy or financial assistance to Ukraine, or our financial contributions to build defense and security capacities. They are all those questions are very important, and of course we need to look at Treaty of the European Union, and to be more creative in interpreting different articles of European Union Treaty when it comes to the voting procedures.
It's often said that Europe has to wake up. Has it woken up?
As I mentioned, we we're accelerating and the discussions on how to be more effective. And I think that we are reaching the stage when we will need to take very, very important decisions.
So we're waking up. I like that. A little bit sleepy, but already grabbing some cup of coffee. Right?
We are moving into right directions.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes, well, action is always, when you have worked with policy for a long, almost all your life, then it's, you always feel bad when you have to say something about action, and you hope it leads to action at some point, or you have to do that in your private life, in voluntary work. But for example, in regarding food security, there the Nordic countries have agreed to look at supply chains, to identify arable land, what do we need to protect, as I said, the supply chains, mapping those, identify what are the critical foods, the production and transportation and storage. And so I think there's a lot going on, at least trying to do this, and also with the European, the EU Preparedness Union initiative. But I think here it's crucial that we just keep working together, Nordics, Baltics, and within the EU, each at our own, in our own capacities.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm the advisor to the Minister of Interior, and this topic is very important at the moment for Ministry of Interior and for the society. And I would like also to address, Mr. Mitkus address that at the moment we have all legal preconditions for integrated crisis management system, and institutions more or less know how to act, what are their functions, what are their responsibilities in the event of crisis. But the societal awareness is quite low and expectations quite big, that someone will take care of them, but not they by themselves, right? And as I understood from my experience now, that the society and the municipality level, what they need, a lot of practical measures and trainings, models, because they don't know what to do and how to prepare themselves to be more resilient. And of course, I would like to take the floor to promote our new application, 72LT, which just was launched on Monday. So I encourage everyone to install it, because this application for the moment is one of the measures to inform civilians and the community on any crisis which may happen. So I would like to encourage, maybe in this format or in any other European formats, to take measures to practically inform citizens, to make those campaigns more available for people, to make their social awareness more higher. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I already see people taking out their phones and downloading the app. Don't forget to rate it 5 stars after you use it for the first time. So bridging the gap between institutions and society, I think, it was one of the key aspects.
Yes, very important issue. And as President Niinistö pointed out in his report, municipal level is very, very important in the context of strengthening resilience and increasing preparedness in our societies. And here, probably, our Nordic-Baltic countries can strengthen cooperation among municipalities. And I do know that each of them, they have brothers and sisters cities, but probably we we could pay more attention and call them to be more proactive in this field. How to increase resilience and preparedness on municipal level.
Yeah. Any examples from your country?
We are trying to. This topic is pretty new in the Nordic Council of Ministers. So we are working on the municipal, on the policy level, but trying also to take it to different sectors in society. So we have we have now financed through Nordforsk the first civilian preparedness networks. It's a new format where you have, for example, universities, and they are working on. They were the most prepared because they had the experience from the pandemic, so they were chosen for the projects. But we are hoping to see more projects like this, and also to expand this. We have these formats for supporting civil society. So hoping to have civil society organizations apply for funding from the Nordic Council of Ministers and do this kind of preparedness and resilience work as a normal part of their own work.
Thank you. Okay, there was a person at the back, yeah.
Gediminas Pocius, Reception and Integration Agency. First of all, I would like to thank the Council for extensive support of human rights in Lithuania. I think my question is a little bit follow-up question from the previous question. You talked a lot about resilience, but there's also a trust element in the topic of today. Maybe you could provide your insights, how your societies feel. Do they have a trust in their, for example, allies at the moment? I think there's a huge trust between countries, Baltic and Nordic, on the diplomatic level, but what are the opinions of your societies? Maybe you have some initiatives to increase this trust. So that's my question. Thank you.
How to build trust between different countries and their societies. Any takers?
We trust, we Lithuanian trust.
Everyone.
No, Scandinavian countries, we trust.
But not
our
Latvians?
Nordic friends.
Okay.
We Finns also trust. There is, I think politicians have brought up this, that one of the dangers is the sort of split in society that is happening now. At least the politicians in Finland have brought this up. And this, of course, is very serious and decreases trust, because you have some people who are the wealth is amassing to a few individuals, and so going back to what the importance of social services and education for all and health services for all, and so this increases trust again, and then it increases security.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a short comment. Trust isn't something that you can force. It evolves gradually. But you can demolish it in a few, as it seems, in a few days even. So about the trust in Finland, we annually measure the citizens' attitudes towards defense and security issues, and we also measure citizens' attitudes concerning certain countries, and of course it varies. I think depending on the time when they are asked, but this can be one element of measuring trust, and something is what is the discussion of politics and so on. But overall, I think it's a very, very difficult question, and but you eventually you measure it when the crisis comes. how do countries, how do nations cooperate in a specific situation, no matter what the polls or what the previous things show.
One of the most viral tweets that I ever posted was actually an opinion poll from Finland saying that most of the people in Finland would think that they would need to defend the Baltic states in case of an attack against them coming from Russia, because it's a common security issue, and for a lot of Lithuanians that was something new and something, you know, to build upon for sure, because you then see your neighbor as your ally in a very practical sense. Anybody else? Yeah, please. Second row.
Professor Žaneta Stasiškienė, Kaunas University of Technology. Several times you mentioned that the importance of training kids. So start from schools. So I fully agree, it's very important, but somebody has to train them. So what about the teachers who are training kids? So how you are dealing with the program, how we are adjusting to this? And the second question is, in many cases we have initiatives related or based on emotions. They are not scientifically based, and sometimes we are facing like a consequences of these emotional initiatives, and we have to deal with things which we are like not systematically proved. So my question is your opinion, science and policy interaction in order to avoid unsystematic solution. How you feel this as an importance and a solution? So thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I can mention on the question of teachers. This has been a long discussion in Finland, and the guarantee for good education is actually that you have good teachers, good quality teachers, and the teacher education has to be top quality. It's also linked to how teachers are valued in society. In some countries, teachers are more valued than in others. And if it's a valued profession, then you get more high-quality applicants to teacher education, and then you have a really good material to work on. And if you top that with a good teacher education, then you are in a good position, because the system produces very good teachers that then. So, but on the emotional, I think I'll leave it to Annukka, because the psychological side.
I will just comment on the teachers' education and about the citizens' actorship. I think that overall the thing is that no matter what profession we have, whether we are teachers or a specialist or whatever our profession is, that we should keep in mind that in every aspect of our action, there is the element of security. For example, how we treat other persons. Do we address them in an appropriate way? Do we build trust? So it starts with small steps in small actions, the trust between individuals, so that they belong in the same community. Everybody thinks that they have something at stake in this common society.
Yeah, Vice Minister, would you like to add something? Well, thankfully, in Lithuania, being a teacher is already the most prestigious profession for a couple of years' time, so we probably don't have this issue anymore. I'm obviously making a slight joke on this. Any last questions from the audience as we come to conclusion, please?
Hello, I'm Virginia Alexeyuna from the Center for Equality Advancement. And my question is about the role of women in peace and security. These moments, we know that usually men are mostly involved in the wars, and women are not involved in the peace procedures. So research shows that then women are involved, this peace lasts for 15 years longer. And my question is about what is done in your countries to be women to be involved more in peace processes. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments from the audience so we can pick it up? No, I don't see any. So the role of women in peace processes and security, more general. Yeah?
I can volunteer because I used to be the ambassador for women, peace and security before I was ambassador to Iceland. Yes, very important question, and it's exactly as you said, Madam, that when women are involved in the peace process, the peace will last more likely to last 15 years or longer. I think it's important also in Ukraine now that we hopefully move towards better times, that the Ukrainian women, we all in this room make sure that the Ukrainian women are participating, and I remember from my times that Ukraine was especially active on the women, peace and security agenda, which is very reassuring. And they also had a good proportion of women in the armed forces. This being involved in all equally, equality both in war and peace is of course something that is natural. So.
Yes. Thank you. Any other comments on this? So then I'll ask my last question as we conclude and come to this more informal conversation at the reception. What would you like to see achieved in your area of work over the next year in order to build trust and resilience in your societies? What is a concrete thing you would like to achieve in the next 300 days or so? Maybe would you like to start?
Yes, I will come back to our strategy, obviously, because I'm representing Security Committee, which was producing this concept or this strategy. Basically, the main goal of the strategy is to offer a common framework for every actor in fulfilling the comprehensive security on their own level. What I would like to see is that actually on local level, on regional level, or whether it be in small organizations, they actually look at the concept and think how they should use it in their daily work, so that they would assess what are my vital functions, what things I need to safeguard in every situation, no matter what, and what I should do to safeguard them. Do I have enough material? Do I have enough information? Do I know what to do in this kind of situation? So that our strategy wouldn't be just 150 pages of paper, so that it would be actually used.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very important to increase awareness, and I fully agree with my colleague from Ministry of Interior that we need to focus on awareness raising in our society, that each and every family, each and every member of community would know what to do in the difficult situation. So I think that it's a challenge for our government and for our society in general.
Thank you. Yeah?
Thank you. We hope with this chairmanship program, where we try to increase work in all these sectors that are actually civilian crises and civilian sectors and civilian actors, that this will increase awareness, and people will get more involved, and society will get more prepared and resilient. And when people get more involved, they tend also to have more trust, and when you are engaged yourself. So by actually pushing this agenda on civilian crisis and civilian actors, we think it will, the next steps will be that it increases also trust in society.
Okay, so we'll meet in 1 year's time and evaluate whether we've succeeded or not. Thanks a lot. A big round of applause for the participants of the panel. Thanks a lot. Thank you.